This is Goku's son, DBZ, and this is the last top 12 list for the month of May, and so is also the last top 12 list of fantasy theme month. And it will be the top 12 fantasy theme video games. Keep in mind, it can be a fine game, RPG, doesn't matter what genre of game is, as long as it's the dominant theme is fantasy. So magic, dragons, things of that nature, in other words. Okay, here it is. Coming in at number 12. Coming in at number 12. For the PSX or PS1, Chrono Cross. Coming in at number 12. Coming in at number 11. Soulcalibur II. Which is the only fine game on this list because it's really the only fine game that is predominantly themed fantasy, of course. It's a very good, very solid game. Interesting characters like Cervantes de Leon. And of course, bosses like Inferno, aka Soul Edge. Then characters like Abyss and others, so on and so forth. Coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 10. Known as either, as some people would say, EverQuest, MMORPG legend, EverQuest. Which is actually the only MMO I've played that I actually kind of enjoyed playing. I'm not a big MMO fan. I'm just not a big, online type person. I'm more about the single player, like RPG, JRPG, more things like that. Here's next. Coming in at number 9 for the PSX, The Legend of Dragoon, which is a solid game, really good JRPG that surprised a lot of people. They were not expecting it, given Sony really was the one who produced the game, was not expecting like a Square quality RPG from Sony, but Sony proved to surprise them. So don't always count other companies out. Coming in at number 8 on the PS2, and also in an HD pack on the PS3, Shadow of the Colossus. Which isn't exactly your traditional type of game, of course, compared to other fantasy type themed games. It's a little different, but it's beautiful, breathtaking game, especially for the time period in the PS2 era. Definitely a really milestone in art, direction, and design. Sadly, it's somewhat of an underrated game. Coming in at number 7. Fable The Lost Chapters on the original Xbox and Anniversary Edition on the 360. But it is perhaps the game that actually got me into playing Xbox in the very first place. I very much enjoyed the first Fable game, and is what got me into playing the franchise. Fable 2, Fable 3, all fun games, though Fable 3 is kind of hated for particular reasons, of course. Like, basically, eventually your character becomes a little too overpowered. But the first game was actually pretty hard, and it was insane trying to beat Jack of Blades at the end of the first game. Fun, solid gameplay, though. Coming in at number 6. Exclusively for the 360, Lost Odyssey, which interestingly enough is the only multi-disc game I've seen in recent years for a newer consoles past the PS1. It's a 4-disc 360 game. Now, I don't recall a 4-disc game past the original PlayStation. Games like Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9 were all 4-disc games. Coming in at number 5, Kingdom Hearts 2, which is a solid game. First game was solid, but in a lot of aspects, Kingdom Hearts 2 was better. Plus, they were experimenting new types of things like limit type break, new outfits, which each outfit had different abilities, like one specialized in attacks, one specialized in magic, one was a balance. But it was an interesting concept and a really fun game. The storyline I thought was better with Xemnas and Organization 13. And of course, become a huge staple popular in the franchise Axel. Now going by Lee, of course, which you learn about in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. But fun game and a fun, awesome fantasy franchise, really. And that's all I can say about that. The Kingdom Hearts franchise is just really fun. Coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 4. Dragon Age Origins, which came out for the PS3 as well as the Xbox 360. Now, my longtime friend absolutely loves the Dragon Age franchise. He swears by it. And Dragon Age Origins, from what I played, is actually very fun. So I understand where he's coming from with that game. And I understand why a lot of other people like it. Plus, it's done by the now growing popular BioWare. Coming in at number 3. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is on a lot of people's top lists for a lot of good reasons on the N64. It definitely was revolutionary for its time, for the 90s. Around that time period, like 96, 97 time window frame. It's understanding why it's so beloved to this day. Good story, fun gameplay. General, it was definitely ahead of its time, but it was also has become considered to be one of the greatest Nintendo games ever. Coming in at number 2, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, which has definitely become a very beloved, very popular game. To be honest, Skyrim is the only game that I've played that I actually like from the series. I've played 3 games in the series. I've played Oblivion and I've played Morrowind. Morrowind, 50-50. Oblivion, I didn't really like. I'm sorry to Oblivion fans. But I actually did enjoy Skyrim. And off and on, when I get occasionally I play a little bit here and there of Skyrim. I give it points for being a very massive open world game, unlike a lot of other RPG type fantasy games out there. Here's some honorable mentions. Honorable mentions: Final Fantasy 6. I'm sorry, not Final Fantasy 6. My bad. Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 7, like all of those, Fable 2, Lunar to Eternal Blue, Lunar, Silver Star Story, Ico, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Enchanted Arms, Dark Cloud, World of Warcraft, and so on. That lot goes on forever. But number one ended up a tie between two legendary games from Square. Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI, also known as Final Fantasy III, on the Super Nintendo. And I'm going to show for this list. I officially finally got a hold of for my personal collection. The legit Final Fantasy III aka 6 for the Super Nintendo. It took a long time to get a hold of, but I'm so happy. This is a Super Nintendo game that has been on my list forever. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this last and final list for the month of May and Fantasy Theme Month. And I just hope you enjoyed it. As you can see in the background, I have a couple of new posters. I put up, of course, Dragon Ball Z, Amazing Spider-Man 2 poster, and up above is a Marvel with multiple different characters, of course, from the Marvel Universe. And these posters just happened to catch my attention when I was recently wanting to change some of the posters in the background for my vlogs. And I hope you guys like some of the new posters I chose. But, as always, of course, this is Goku-san DBZ. I hope to see you next time here in YouTube land. And, leave a comment, give me ideas, let people know about my channel, subscribe, and, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ. And you can message me on there or here, doesn't matter. But I hope to see you all in the near future. And as I mentioned before, I'm looking at maybe starting something on Twitch, possibly. And also, message me on Google Plus at GokuSunDBZ on there. So I have multiple ways now. You can message me, give me new ideas. And of course, next vlog, or next top countdown vlog, will be in June, which is going to be Sci-Fi Theme Month, which of course will be all the sci-fi things will be done in honor of the late great Leonard Nimoy. But I'm working on possibly in the near future doing maybe a top 12 list, a special one, of different music artists for all different genres, or a particular genre. And I will be doing that dedicated to the late great B.B. King, which is the reason I ever even listened to blues music in the first place. I listen to very little blues, but what I do listen to is thanks to B.B. King giving me a check it out. But anyways, I need to cut up this vlog. It's getting a little long. Sorry about that. But of course, as always, this is Goku-san DBZ signing out, and I'll see you next time in June, I guess.